Good evening and welcome to our 11th session in our subject IT 313. So our topic for this evening is about mediation or what we call intervening variables. Okay, so our objectives for this evening are as follows. Number one, discuss mediation of variable between independent and dependent variables. Number two, value the importance of mediation of variables between independent and dependent variables. And number three, understand mediation of variables between independent and dependent variables. So, mediation model seeks to identify and explain the mechanism or process that underlies an observed relationship between an independent variable and dependent variable via the inclusion of the third hypothetical variable known as the mediator. So, this mediator is also called mediating variables or intermediary variable or intervening variable. So rather than a direct causal relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable, a mediation model proposes that the independent variable influences mediation variable, which in turn influences the dependent variable. So the mediator variable serves to clarify the nature of the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. Mediation analyses are employed to understand unknown relationship by exploring the underlying mechanism or process by which one influences another variable through mediator variable. So in particular, mediation analysis can contribute to better understanding the relationship between the two. So as you can see on our screen, this is the full versus partial mediation. So a mediator variable can either account for all some kind of observed relationship between the two variables. So in layman's term, guys, if ever you have your IPO diagram, you have your independent variable and dependent variable. Yung mediator variable is the process. So sa tunga siya. So maximum evidence for mediation, also called full mediation, would occur if the inclusion and mediation variable drops the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable to zero. Whereas to the partial mediation naman, this serves as the mediating variable account for some, but not all of the relationship between the independent and the dependent variable. So partial mediation implies that there is not only significant relationship between the mediator and the dependent variable, but also some direct relationship between the independent and the dependent variable. So in other words, it's either full or partial mediation to be established, and that the reduction in variance explained by the independent variable must be significant as determined by the one of several tests such as the Sobel test. But we're not going to go dig deeper on that. Let's concentrate more on the mediator. So the effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable can become non-significant when the mediator is introduced simply because the trivial amount of variance that is explained. So there are models of moderated mediation. These are the 5 possible models of moderated mediation in which significantly affects the variables. No? So in the first model, the independent variable also moderates the relationship between the mediator and the dependent variable. The second possible model of moderated mediation involves a new variable which moderates the relationship between the independent variable and the mediator. The third model of moderated mediation involves a new moderator variable which moderates the relationship between the mediator and the dependent variable. So this is called also the B path. Number 4, the moderated mediation can also occur when one moderating variable affects both the relationship between the independent variable and the mediator. So that is called your path A or the A path, and the relationship between the mediator and the dependent variable, so the B path. And then the last one, the fifth and final possible model of moderated mediation involves 2 new moderator variables, one moderating the A path and the other moderating the B path. Okay, guys, for the code of the day, the question is, what is the other name for mediation? So, Karina, to sa slide natin, guys. and then ad astra persapientia to the stars through knowledge. Okay, so thank you guys for attending our lecture for this evening. The mediator or the intervening variable is just the intervening factor between both the two. So, pwede nyo matawag na the bridge or the hanging bridge between the two variable, ang intervening variable or ang mediator ninyo. So what does the mediator do is it mediates the characteristics of the variable from one another. So meaning to say it passes on from the independent variable going to the independent variable. So in normal situation, the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable are significant. Meaning to say, if ever the changes occur on on the independent variable, there's such a thing or change also for the dependent, which directly proportional or indirectly proportional. Meaning to say, it has a positive effect or a negative effect. But then again, if you're going to put up your intervening variable or the mediator, so it simply means that the significant differences between the two has a factor which utilizes the insignificant factor for both variables. Meaning to say, again, there's such a relationship between the two that indirectly affects the scenario for both factors. So, just like for example, if you undergo a certain process in a cycle, then that process is actually putting a point for the result between the two variables. So it depends on the relationship between the two. But then again, injecting the intervening variable may take note of the term, guys, may play of a factor between the two variable. So may dyan do nga daan nga factor nga nag-affect sa duwa sa independent variable kasi dependent. Kung dugangan mo pa siya ka intervening factor, then again, there could be another outcome or possibly an outcome beyond the normal factor. So those are determined through observation, but to quantify, it is significant because pwede mo siya magamitan ka statistics. So statistically wise, it will affect the factor between the two variables. So other than that, guys, daw ay naman, but maghimo ka mo ka activity ninyo, which would be your activity number, ano ganun, your activity number 14. It's called Models of Moderated Mediation or the ModMed 114. So what you're going to do, guys, is draw the 5 possible models of moderated mediation. So what you're going to do is refer to the models of moderated mediation. So itong 5 nga to. Then i-draw ninyo possible models of moderated mediation. So you can research on that. So take note of the 5 possible models of moderated mediation and then imuan nyo siya ka-diagram. Okay? So I think in the internet, you can see there the diagram. So that will be your assignment or your activity. Okay? So, is it understood, guys? Do you have any question? Okay, so clear na siya ha. Your activity, makita nyo man abi activity ninyo sa ano. So I forgot the slide to put the activity on the slide. But then again, I read it to you right now, just now, and then that's what you're going to do for your activity. So activity 14 will be consisting of the 5 mediating variable nga discuss natin kanina. And then what you're going to do is to research on the diagrams. Okay? Okay, so I think supposedly what you're going to do is to get the intervening variable gani, no? Ti ang intervening variable process lang da nga daan doon. So kung pasulaton ta pa kamo ka process, kopyahon nyo ma-refer man lang kamo sa IPO sa dang conceptual framework ninyo liwat kag amo dayay mo anin nyo ka ano in paragraph form ka intervening variable. So, but then this time, para maiba naman kita, you're going to research on the five variables no sa mediation. So, drawing kita anay why dayat labot sa inyong thesis guys nga nga dang Brown sa thesis ninyo. Um, Supposedly, um, I'm going to give you gani ambal ko katong sa inyong intervening variable nga amo gidadaad ya Brown naton. But this time, so that maparayo man ya utok naton sa Bracon, di kita ma-stress. Ano lang anay research lang kamo anay guys sa 5 mods or moderation sa nga ano naton. So you can just see that the drawing on the internet. So you're just going to draw it on your take note, i-draw ninyo hindi pag copy paste. So pwede niyo damay mo sa inyong ano guys sa Microsoft Word.
Sir?
And then that will be yes Clea May.
Individual gyapon, sir. Or by.
Oo.
Thank you, sir.
So you can do this individually lang kay no need nang mag-group anahead ang hindi man kamo mag-himo ka intervening factor ninyo mo. Pero sige lang, okay lang da. At least nagbago naman yung ano ninyo. Ang ano abi guys, ang intervening variable, you can actually put up the process. Sa ano niyo na makita lang sa dang cycle sa process ng ibutan niyo sa IPO niyo bala. So sa process na siya na belong sa conceptual framework. And then ang moda supposedly Brown ninyo. Pero nabutang ko doon abi sa ano ninyo ang 5 mods mo. So I cannot do away with the with why ko maislan bala sa sobra kong dali na post ko na why ko na maislan ang activity. So sige lang, i-push through lang natin siguro ang 5 mods. You can see that also on your what's this kani syllabus. Okay? Okay. So thank you guys. Some more questions? Some more questions? Okay. So I'll see you again tomorrow for another session. Your code of the day will be posted next tomorrow lang siguro. Okay, so thank you guys for attending our lecture for this evening. See you tomorrow or probably sa next natin ng mga ano. Okay, so thank you so much guys and good evening sa tanan.